Kלים Perek Chavav, Mishnah Hey. Elu Oiros Tamein Medras. Another one of my introductions. We said before that, let's repeat this, that an Kli Oir is Makabal Tuma if it's got a base kibble. That's fine. We also said before that a Kli Oir which is Ro'i, the Mishkav Moshav, is Makabal Tumas Medras. On this Medras, this is something we have not mentioned before, there's an added din, which means, of course, if we have an oil which is a Kli, and that's Ro'i le Medras, then of course it's Makabal Tumas Medras. The Torah is Mechadish, that pieces of leather, although they are not Kelim, they're not made into a Kli. However, if they have a shear of 5 by 5 tefachim, 5 by 5 tefachim, quite a large piece of leather, and as long as you can sit on it, one is able to sit on it, even though it is not made for sitting on, this piece of leather is Mekabel Tumas Medras. And now the Mishnah is going to give us a list of such Kelim, although this list actually we've got to split into two groups. This is based on the Tosefta. Group A and Group B. The unfortunate thing is that Group A itself is split in the Mishnah, the first three, so we'll have to, when we come to each one, we'll tell you whether it's Group A, Group B, and what the nafkamin is. Group A are oiros, which are actually made for sitting on. It may not be the primary function, but it is made for sitting on. In such a case, the Tanakama, the Tosefta says, you don't actually need the shear of hay al hay by 5 by 5. They are Mekabel Tumas Medras as they are. This applies to the first three. Orish chishev alav l'shetiach, a piece of leather which you've decided to use as a rug to spread on the floor and to sit on it. Or a oris skurtion, or a katbulia. We've had these before as well. The leather apron which the tanners in the tannery, the leather tanneries, put on them to protect themselves, or katbulia, which is a piece of leather draped over a couch or a sofa to sit on it or to lie on it. They, of course, are Mekabel Tumas Medras. Now we come to list B. The following list are not primarily made for sitting on, but they can be sat on. There's nothing wrong with sitting on. You can sit on them, and therefore these lot, the list B, definitely need a shear of 5 by 5 tefachim, and they are Or HaChamor, the leather which the donkey driver puts on him to protect himself. Or HaKaton, Kisna is the Aramaic for flax. The people who work with flax need to be protected, so they have a piece of leather to protect them. Or HaKatof, this is the piece of leather which the porter, person who carries heavy stuff on his shoulders, puts on his shoulders to protect his shoulders, they shouldn't get injured. Or Haroife, the doctor, in order to shouldn't get splattered from the various things that can splatter out of a patient, protects himself with this piece of leather. Or Hoariso, the oil put, and again machlok is whether this is something put on the cot of a baby, it's either underneath the baby or on top of the baby. Or halev shel cotton, similarly another piece of leather put on the chest of a child, little baby, so that the fox or the cat can't, chas v'sholom, injure the baby. This lot, from Or HaChamor to Or halev shel cotton, are not primarily made for sleeping or lying on, and therefore the shear is, in order to have a Tumas Medras, they have to have 5 by 5 tefachim. Then we go back to list A, Or Hakar, Or Hakeses, the leather used to cover a quilt or an eiderdown. They, of course, have a Tumas Medras, although primarily you may say they're actually there to have the stuffing put inside them, but they are also lain on, and therefore they are classic Tumas Medras, even without a shear of 5 by 5 tefachim, because they are made for Medras, for Mishkav Moshav. The last two cases in the Mishnah, Or HaSoroik, Or HaSoirik, not very clear from Baal Tunurik the exact difference. These are pieces of leather used by the people, the special craftsmen, workers who card wool. and they protect themselves with these pieces of leather. We've got a machlokes between Rabbi Eliezer and the Chachamim. It seems that their machlokes is about a third category, a category of oil where the oil is so specifically used for a specific purpose, although you can sit on it, you're able to sit on it, but it's so used, miyuchad, for a particular tashmish, that the Chachamim say this is a third category all on its own, although it can be slept on and laid and sat on, but it's not. Nobody would ever do it because they use it for this, and therefore the Chachamim say it steps down from the Medras, they just become ordinary kelim Tommy Mace. One must assume that somehow or other these pieces of leather actually can act as a base kibble. And Rabbi Eliezer says no difference, they just fall into the categories mentioned above, and as long as they have a shear of 5 by 5 tefachim, therefore the normal rules of Medras applies. Rabbi Eliezer would agree, however, in a case of type of a piece of leather where you physically cannot sit on it, we'll come to those later, then of course even Rabbi Eliezer would agree no Medras.